Did I already tell you I hate Corona? I hate it more because of this.
So are you talking about the beer or the virus?
All in all, the effects it has, man.
Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Escapades. My name is Kshitij and I'm joined by my usual suspects Akshay and Anand with a very special guest in Sanchit Singh, whose relationship with us goes right back to college and goes by PL Ibrahimovic on Twitter. Sanchit, a really warm welcome to the FPL Escapades family. We are so glad to have you here. How's it going, man? How was 2020 for you? How was your third year in FPL going, and how was your last game week?
So it's amazing to be here. I have been looking at the podcast for some time, listening to it for a longer time, and it's amazing to finally be here. I have recently been told that you guys are waiting for me, so that's sweet of you. And I am very excited to be here. It's been going very well. This is my third consecutive season in FPL, and I would say it is the best till now. At least by average, I'm around about 57, 58 point average till game week 17. So I would say I'm happier about it.
A great man, 57, 58 in your third season isn't bad at all. And how do you feel rather about being a Liverpool supporter right now? Last year winning the league and now being joined top. I know offline we've had a lot of banter about Liverpool and United when United did not have a great start to the season. But how does it feel when we are joined at top?
Ah, okay. Joint top debatable. Uh, how do I feel about it? Scared staying between three United fans, back to back, Bilkul. But all in all, I guess long time coming, man. For United specifically, if I'm being totally honest about it, long time coming. The team's been coming together, going apart, and everything. Lot of good players that I like individually. Of course, I am a Liverpool fan, so I have seen this trend with Klopp, and I have not been a Liverpool fan for very long. So since the time that I started following it around about 2013, 2014, Liverpool had a similar stint, I would say. They did well for a few games, for a like time period for a few months at a stretch, but then they would start going downhill. And so I've seen this phase. But I like your manager personally. I think he brings something special, which maybe the special one could not bring. But having said that, I am happy about it. It makes it interesting, especially after a couple of seasons of one-sided tournaments. It makes it interesting.
Great. I only wish the viewers and listeners knew that you're not as like close to being as modest as you are being on this episode. But
Uh,
great to have you here, man. It's been a long time coming. So game week 17 was a pretty interesting game week. I mean, we spoke so much about having one eye on the blank game week 18, which is the upcoming game week as well. I personally had a fairly good game week. I captained Son, he returned points. Fernandez returned points. Saka for once returned points again. Uh, Bamford and Calvert Lewin did not really do it for me. I scored around 64 points. Bellerin, for some reason, did not really play as well as I hoped for. He gave me a zero. So basically, 10 players giving me a total of 64. Not bad. Finally crossed the landmark of 1,000 points this early in a season, first time ever. Been playing it for so long. So that's about it. I mean, like, I'm so ready for game week 18, the blank game week, and we have so much to talk about strategy wise. Sanchit is taking a free hit, so we'll definitely come back to Sanchit as to and shoot questions at him as to why and what is his thinking about selecting assets for the blank game week after activating his free hit chip. Akshay, how was your game week, man? How has it been going for you? And yeah, tell me about how did it go for you?
Yeah, another solid game week for me. Personally, I ended up with 76 points despite getting two one pointers from Justin and Robertson. So I brought in holding, as I discussed in the previous episode, for Alex Telles, and that paid off like to an extent even I did not hope for. So he got an assist and also the clean sheet. 10 pointer, couldn't be happier. So coming to the captaincy, I had a huge debate in my mind of whether to go with Son and Kane. And like I've always stressed earlier, when you have a debate between two players, go for the third one. Don't keep struggling between the two. So I did go with Bruno, and as always, the tried and trusted guy. He's delivering double-digit hauls week after week. So yeah, great to get a 200k arrow, a green arrow, and moving up to 750k and onwards and upwards. Yeah.
A great game week for you as well. And moving on from that, I mean, like talking about Kane, Son, and Bruno. Moving on to Sanchit, your game week. How I see you had Kane captain, sir, captain finally for a change, been firing after a string of blank captain punts. But yeah, looks like you also had a pretty decent game week, man.
So yeah, something for your viewers. So I usually do not consult people for advice because it hasn't worked in the previous two seasons. But I have to grant Kshitij Panghal this, that he did make a suggestion at the starting of the season, and I did not take it. I had differential captains. I was going with differential captains, and oh boy, was it a flop. But having said that, for the past 6, 7 game weeks, it has been firing. I've had a couple of blanks, but yeah, this season, as you can see, this game week, Kane, of course, top notch. I wish I could have had Son too, and I wish he would not have scored since he was not in my team. But unfortunately, could not get the pickup that I needed. But still, in all, considering the average, it was a good game week. My transfer in, of course, was holding just like Akshay, and of course, holding man. Who knew? I was at max expecting a clean sheet, but for him to get 10 points, I mean that was beyond anything. Martinez, of course, is my hero this season. Whether he gets 2 goals, whether he concedes 2 goals, nobody cares anymore because the amount of saves this guy makes, when he is always giving me at least 3 to 7 to 10 points every week. This guy is my hero, and I'm sticking with him. Other than that, of course, Mitchell turned out to be a lucky factor because I was not even sure if he was going to start or not. I was worried actually because West Ham was the first game and Kufal gave me a clean sheet, and I was kind of worried that did I make the wrong bluff, but it turned out fine. Coming on to my biggest disappointment this game week, though, my own team, Liverpool. Oh, it wasn't good, and no, I do not want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, Akshay, for one, is really happy. He's been dodging Salah's points for the last 4 game weeks. But yeah, I see. Finally, you stuck to my advice and started captaining somebody who a lot of FPL
Oh,
managers have been going with in Kane. So a pretty decent
yeah.
game week with 64 points above average. So yeah, pretty nice, moving upwards and onwards. And with that, the final review of game week 17, Anand. Another Bruno Capner, another United man, set and forget captain on Bruno Fernandes. It seems. How was talk to me about your game week, man?
Yeah, it wasn't really good. Just crossed 50, but could not cross 60, and I was knocked out of the what is this cup, knockout cup that FPL host. I was knocked out of it, and so yeah, not a really great game week for me personally. But yes, the players that I had brought in, and I was waiting for them because this was a strategy to always dodge the blank game week 18. And luckily for me, I don't have to make a lot of transfers for the next game week, and that is why I'm a little bit happy about it. So yeah, that's mostly about it, boys.
Yeah, and I see that your love affair with Aguero continues, even though he doesn't start and has not been returning points. But yeah, I've been wrong about KDB before. I've been wrong about Ings before. I hope for your sake I'm wrong about Aguero again. Yeah, and with that, Akshay, let's. What do you have in mind for game week 18, man? I know that we are not. You're not taking a free hit, activating the free hit chip as well. So did you talk to me about your team for game week 18 and how did you plan for it? And who do you or how do you think you're likely going to tinker it further?
Yeah, so like Anand, I do have the luxury of not making too many changes because I have a lineup which is pretty much set for blank game week 18. So the only concern that I have right now is James Justin, who has a blank. So my plan right now is to jump to either Cancelo or Ruben Diaz, and that's where I'm holding my transfer right now because I do not want to make that move really early before City play their cup games, and we all know how Pep Roulé works. So just keeping an eye on that, on how he manages to shuffle his defenders and go about there. So I do have Rian Brewster on my bench, who's probably my luxury substitute this week, just in case I do end up having any outfield players who do not turn up. So yeah, just into probably one of Cancelo and Ruben Diaz. Yeah, that's my plan.
No, and are you going to stick with Bruno and surprisingly not going to invest in any City midfield, given that their fixtures is against Brighton, or are you waiting for the cup games and the league games, or the COVID situation at City?
I mean, I did have that thought in mind myself whether to go with someone like KDB or Sterling or even a differential punt like a Gundogan. But I guess I'll probably have to shuffle my team entirely in order to fit someone like that. So I'll keep that plan for game week 19 when City have a juicy double game week. And I think KDB or maybe a Sterling is absolutely nailed on for game week 19 in that double game week. So I'll probably hold that transfer for now.
Oh, makes sense, man. As far as I'm concerned, I have actually finally heeded to your suggestion, Akshay, and got rid of Salah for the blank game week and got in Kevin De Bruyne and doubling up on City given their fixture run seems like an understatement. I really want to triple up on City assets, and like you said, I do also have the luxury of another free transfer with 3.3 million in the bank to either ship out. The likes of Bellerin or Saka for maybe a differential like Gundogan or maybe a punt on Mahrez because, like you said, Pep Roulé might be at play big time because we have the League Cup and the FA Cup as well, and a lot of double City play the blank game week as well as the double game week in 19 and really good fixtures. The next five fixtures seem really juicy, and I am definitely aggravating towards tripling up on City. It's been very hard for me to hold my free transfers because as you know KDB rose in price yesterday, so that is something that doesn't did not feel right for me to wait, but yeah, definitely given the situation that City are in with multiple COVID cases and the Pep rules at play, I mean no FPL manager might be safe, so that's
Yeah,
basically it.
just a word on Saka. So I think Arsenal midfielders are actually offering a lot of value in midfield when you come to game week 18 because the likes of Saka and Smith Rowe they've been impressive, and Arteta has finally managed to use his Europa League plans into the Premier League, and those youngsters are actually delivering for him. So for a guy like Sanchit who is on a free hit, I think Arsenal would be one team to eye on because they're playing Crystal Palace at home and they look like in form. In fact, I was just looking at the numbers. So they have the highest shots in the box in the last 4 game weeks. So we were talking about Arsenal being very poor in attack and on the ball. So that stat is actually shocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
90.
And me and Sanchit were also talking offline about it, and definitely we'll talk more about it when we talk about
Yeah.
his free hit chip when he activates it and the team that he's gonna go for. But before we jump on to Sanchit, Anand, what are your plans, man? Do you? I think you have two free transfers as well, and do you plan to use both of them, or are you lucky enough to use only one for the blank game week and ship another for the double game week 19?
Uh, so really confusing right now, but yes, I do want to remove Ailing, so who's on my bench. So I have Ailing, Bamford, and Justin on my bench, and so the two players that I really want to get rid of are Ailing and Lewis. So Lewis just had a knee problem, so I'm not sure whether he's gonna play against Sheffield or not. But since Ailing does not have a fixture, I'm gonna remove Ailing this game week. So that's one pick that's pretty certain that I'm gonna remove, and probably I'll get in either an Arsenal defender or a City defender. But see, the thing with City defender is that I already have three players. So in case I'm getting in a City defender, say either Diaz or Cancelo, then I'll even have to remove Aguero. So yeah, I'm gonna wait till the deadline day. Also because tonight is the Carling Cup match, United versus City. So like you guys have already mentioned, like we'll be keeping close tabs on it, and at the same time, we'll also wait for the FA Cup, which happens in a few days again. So City will be playing a team over there, and we'll see what happens. What happens with Aguero because yeah, I know that I've wasted a transfer on him, and not for the first time. This is probably the second time this season that I've got him in. So yeah, I'm gonna still wait. Uh, if there is a little bit of a sign that he starts, then probably Lewis goes out and either Tierney or Mari comes in. Although I really like holding the pick of holding, but for me he's no longer a differential because a lot of lot of people in my clan have holding in their team, so I would like to go different. And
Why
but yeah,
not?
apart
Why
from
not
that,
Lacazette? Why
no,
not
no, no.
switch
Like
from Aguero to Lacazette?
no, but jokes apart, like I have already shortlisted my pick. So if Aguero goes out, it has to be Martial who comes in, and that is how I like playing game. The players that I trust, I want to bring them in. It doesn't matter who has a good fixture or not, because if I like a player, then for me that player is sort of a fixture proof player, in at least in my head. So that's the situation. But yeah, coming back to the point where I'm thinking of moving out Lewis, and I'll probably get in Tierney or Mari, and like I said, not probably holding because a lot in my clan has holding already. But yeah, apart from that, there's another thing that I was considering, and which was the fact is, since the time Mari has come back, it has coincided with Arsenal's form. So Mari has played the last three matches in the Premier League for Arsenal, and Arsenal has won those games. So that is why I feel that he's a very special part of this team, and Arteta feels he's really important too. So and plus he's 4.4, so I'll probably save some. I'll say point 0.1 over there as well. So that is another reasoning why I want to go ahead with Murray. But then because Crystal Palace have a fair bit in their attacking time, so I would rather go for Tierney, because even if Arsenal loses a clean sheet, the way Tierney has been playing over the last few game weeks, he can still come up with an attacking return. And I do have money in the bank, so I'll probably utilize it over there. So yes, that's my strategy so far. But yeah, I'm gonna wait as long as possible, as closer to the deadline. That will be my strategy, boys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like Tierney as a pick, by the way.
Tierney
Yeah.
definitely,
Thank you.
and his massive haul last game week is definitely swung a lot of ranks here and there. But yeah, talking about a lot of transfers that need to be made, Sanchit, looking at your team, and you have 7 players who are blanking. I'm sure we also spoke about how you were setting up your team for double game week 19 as well. So, I
Yes.
mean, talk to me about. I mean, I don't think that there's a lot to talk about in your team right now. But talk to me about what your plans were when you made your team for double game week 19, and then we'll move on to your free hit chip.
Sure. So taking on something from what Anand was talking about, uh, I have tried to create my team based on a few mm, players that I just do not feel like moving. Players that even if they blank out in 1 week, I have the faith that, for example, in a double game week, that I have the faith that they can cover it up. They will give me the returns that I'm expecting out of a double game week. So as you can see from the team, basically I could have gone either ways. Kshitij and me have already been at it for the past, I guess, since game week 13 or 14, since we first realized that there was going to be a double game week. We have been at it, and there was two ways I could have gone about it. I could have either prepared my squad for 18 and taken a big swing over the double game week, or I could have prepared my squad for 19 and taken a free hit in game week 18. So I went with the second way, and I am still wondering if it will come back to bite me in the ass, of course, in the future. But for now, I'm being an optimist, and I am pretty optimistic about my free hit transfer, as you will see soon enough with my new the free hit squad. But first of all, this squad that I have right now, almost 9 to 10 players in this squad are performing in the double game week. So that is enough. And of course, there are big hitters in this team. Players like Fernandez, Rashford, players like Kane, players like Salah, Robertson. Of course, Liverpool for the past 3 games, maybe not so much, but you just can't count them out. And as Anand was saying, Holding has been like one of the finds for the past 2 3 game weeks, suddenly giving a lot of points. He has turned from a differential to a must have. He's turned into a new Lord Lundstrom of this season. So yeah, all in all, I am confident that the strategy I'm going for should work. It may not, but I am being optimistic about it.
Yeah, and talking about optimism, I think it is time for looking at your free hit chip and throwing out questions as to why or what were the reasons behind you uh, taking in assets that are actually on your team right now. So, Sanchit, looking at your team, it seems that you have a lot of trust on Arsenal and City defenders, and I see that with Cancelo you have Stones instead of Diaz, where a lot of FPL pundits are leaning towards. So, what was your the entire thought process behind selecting assets for free hit?
Well, okay. So first of all, a few basic things. Of course, matlab, everybody knows the fixtures that we have. There are four major fixtures that I was considering for this game week. I mean, of course, there are two more fixtures, but I am concentrating on the four most important. United, Burnley, Arsenal, Crystal Palace, City, Brighton, and Spurs and Villa. Out of these, also, of course, I am concentrating like a normal human being on United, City, Arsenal, and Spurs. And okay, so the squad that you have on the screen, basically, I plan on playing a 3-4-3. So the three defenders I plan on playing is Holding, Stones, Cancelo. To answer your question, I will keep answering the questions that you put forward to me. So Stones over Diaz, price, majorly price. The midfield that I wanted, the ideal midfield that I wanted for this game week, since I was playing a free hit, I was gonna go whole hog on attack and midfield. And the midfield that I wanted, I needed the money to sponsor that midfield. And Diaz somehow, as much as I would have preferred, because he is some bit more of an attacking threat than Stones, but Stones is cheaper. And I needed to have three City assets for sure. I had considered Phil Foden and Mahrez as well. Sterling is never a consideration for me this season. Somehow I might be hurting a few sentiments, but I'm sorry. He's like Paul Pogba of Manchester City. He does nothing anymore. Sorry. Whatever it is. My point is, I needed three people from City, and two defenders seem like a good deal because I am expecting a clean sheet. So Stones and Cancelo, of course, seem a good deal. Cancelo is a no-brainer. He has been one of the most creative players after KDB, and KDB, of course, godlike man. I mean, me and Kshitij can talk hours over the balls that he delivers from the free kick. Godlike, beyond godlike, best midfielder in Europe, the way I see it. So irrespective, I am happy with the three City assets I have. Surprisingly, for the past almost 3 game weeks, I have been doubling up on United. Again, as Kshitij knows, in my past 2 seasons, never ever have I worked with two United assets, and has it ever worked out? But this time around, what can I say? Bruno, again, the second godlike player of Premier League that I can find. Been very impressed with the guy. Rashford, of course, has also come into his own. At the end of the second season, only he continued. And unlike a lot of different players like Martial who keep coming in and out of games, Rashford has been one of my favorites in the forward line for United, and big impact there. Uh, Arsenal, of course, the squad that I got, I since the starting of this season, I had no faith in Arsenal, and I have not had any faith. But I have to say, hands down, Arteta and Arsenal have changed my viewpoint in the past 3 to 4 game weeks. The way they have increased their performances, the way they're attacking, the way they're defending, all in all, impressed. And I had to give Lacazette a turn. We were discussing at the start of this interview, and Mr. Sindhu, Anand Sindhu, had a statement that no, not Aguero too. That will be like one of the worst, but I have to consider him. He has been one of the players that has changed things for them. He has come off the bench and scored. He has started and scored. He has been scoring left, right, and center. So I wanted him. I would have ideally liked to have him in my regular squad too, but I do not have the bandwidth for him. So I thought, why not? And other than that, of course, the Spurs duo. There is nobody else that I wanted to concentrate on. I don't even know who plays in Spurs. I know just two people who play in Spurs. Heung-min Son and Harry Kane, man. Harry Kane. So yeah, there you have it, guys.
Interesting, interesting. I'm sure Anand and Akshay might have some suggestions or questions regarding your selections for the free hit, and I'm pretty sure the tinkering would be on till the last minute of the deadline as well.
Yeah,
Given that, uh,
definitely. With FA and with FA Cup and Carabao, of course, that's gonna be happening continuously. Yeah.
yeah, and also basically, I'm sure that you will be really keenly listening to all of the pressers as well. Akshay, what do you feel about these free hit assets, and do you have any concerns or suggestions or questions regarding Sanchit's asset selection?
I mean, I really like the defensive setup that he's planned, going heavy on Arsenal and City, because they are the two teams who are probably likely to keep clean sheets this game week. So although Palace do give offer a lot of threat on the counter. But Arsenal, they play a possession-based football, so I do expect them to dominate the ball and knock Palace out of the park very early into the game. So that increases the potential of a clean sheet when it comes to Leno and Holding. When I look at this team, the only weak link that I see is perhaps Ryan Brewster. So my suggestion would be to maybe go with a 3-5-2 and keep Brewster as a luxury substitute and invest in a Arsenal midfielder, someone like a Saka or a Smith Rowe over a Riedewald because he offers you more upside. And Ryan Brewster, there's an uncertainty of him starting as well. So I wouldn't want to gamble on a free hit. You would ideally want to have at least 12 players. So you are perhaps going with 11 here. So that's
Hmm.
something that you might want to improve. Yeah.
Brewster might as well call it 10.5, and I kind of agree with you. That has been something that was my last minute tinkering, and yeah, I will take your advice into consideration for this, especially with Arsenal in the midfield, might just work.
Yeah.
Anand, you seem to be very keenly looking at this team. What do you have to say about these selections?
I think Akshay was just spot on regarding the transfers and pretty good team, pretty solid team. Maybe a keeper change if he has money because there are just too many eggs. He just depended on two matches, Arsenal and City, for all the clean sheet points. So maybe there he can have a different player. But how much money do you have, Sanchit?
Big fat zero, big fat zero.
Also, if you do plan to get
Uh,
Arsenal midfielders, you'll probably have to offload one of
Remove,
Leno or
yeah,
Holding, yeah,
true.
or probably Lacazette and like take that love affair for another day.
No, so I'm actually gonna make a mixture of your suggestion and Anand's suggestion. If I have to tinker with a player from Arsenal that I can remove, I'll much rather remove Leno.
Leno, yeah,
I
love
can
that.
I can continue sticking with Martinez because if I do that, I do not end up losing money. I already have him. That is an option I can go for, but and Martinez, as I said at the starting of the episode, he is a hero for me. He keeps giving me save points every game, even though he does not get clean sheets every game. So I can go with that option. That will save up some money to get another Arsenal player in midfield. That is something I can tinker with.
Fair play.
yeah, I mean that's a good point too. But then you have Son and Kane playing against Martinez.
Yeah,
And
I had United playing against him, man. How did he manage getting 7 saves in last game week? I have no idea.
I mean, so with saves,
And
you do
in no,
guarantee.
yeah,
I mean, with
go
saves,
on,
you
please.
do get points, but you would also want to get clean sheet points. And trust me, Sanjay, I think Leno is a really good pick. Uh, because of the reasons that you're going for holding is, they're playing Crystal Palace. So holding is not a bad pick at all. I'll give you that. The only thing is just having a balance, but overall, really good
I'll
looking team. I'm, pre-
I'll
I'm
give
pretty
you an
sure
I'll
you'll
give
come
you
up
an
with.
I'll give you an alternate view on that. Two teams that are matching up, Aston Villa and Spurs. My thought process of switching this over was Aston Villa have not been as unpredictable as they were last season. They have had good days when they have defended against the topmost teams and have come out either with a clean sheet or have ended up winning 2-1, 3-1. And same is the case with Spurs also. As well as the squad looks on paper, somehow the team does not always turn up. Sometimes they just don't attack. That is something that I have been figuring out and trying to wonder because Spurs play a different game every week. With the Mourinho style of play, it's not always guaranteed if they will score and if they will score heavily or not. But one thing that I can look at is that Martinez is a quality player. He is playing at Aston Villa, and people might not consider it as a very big team, but he is one of the major reasons why they have had so much success. A keeper getting, he's like the Nick Pope of this season, the way I see it,
Absolutely.
getting six to eight saves, 10 saves, 9 saves,
Four,
saving a
five, six.
penalty, save a game. Yeah, the guy has been a hero, man. That is something that I can figure out. But you're not wrong, Leno. Till now, even to me, it seems like a good pick.
Yeah, I mean, you can even try for an Everton keeper. I'm not sure if you trust Pickford or not, but maybe over there as well. If you just
Yeah,
in case you
yeah,
want to get in an Arsenal midfielder over there. Yeah,
yeah.
but a really good-looking team and good point regarding Spurs. We all know about they might just even if they are winning 1-0, they'll just start defending and they just wouldn't care about scoring another goal. So that's something there. But we were talking to Akshay and Kshitij a few days back, and they were also making points that, uh, you know, still Spurs do attack, and whenever they attack, the outlets are just Son and Kane. And like you mentioned as well, that regarding Son and Kane, these are the only players from Spurs, as of like only these two are playing. So yeah, overall good points and a good looking team for sure.
Also, like on a
Yeah,
personal matchup level, so Son will be against Matty Cash, if you remember, and if
Yeah,
Bertrand Traore starts on the right, Matty Cash does not get any help from his right winger when it comes to tracking
true.
back. So I think Young-min Son could benefit from that. Yeah.
I agree.
yeah, and all in all, yeah, I completely agree with Akshay and Anand, your analysis of the team, and Sanchit, your reasoning for putting up with this team as well. I agree with Anand that it might just be putting your eggs in kind of two baskets, with a lot depending on Arsenal and City game. If they both concede even one goal, there are a lot of clean sheet points that are dropped. Interestingly enough, people talk, Anand and everyone talked about Leno, and we talked about Martinez as another keeper, or even Pickford for that matter. But as you mentioned that you were targeting these four major game weeks where all the big teams play, I think that if you want to go, if you want to save up money, you can also look at the Sheffield versus Newcastle game, and maybe get in Newcastle's keeper, because Sheffield again have been
Oh,
really erratic.
Dalo.
So
what a keeper!
yeah,
Now,
Darlow
now
has
the
been.
man talks differential. Now the
Yeah,
man talks
exactly. And
differential.
Anand has been talking very high, rating high, very Darlow very highly, given the kind of saves that he's as well has been making. It's just a shame that Newcastle have been failing to turn up as a team, given the attacking returns as well. So
He's
Darlow
also
is something.
he's also one of the reasons we're joint top, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. He's one of the reasons that we are joint top. You so basically, yeah, I mean, like if you want to save up some money, maybe ship out Leno, get in Darlow instead, and maybe then you'll have enough money for a fifth midfielder. But all in all, really good, and I'm sure the tinkering will not stop till the deadline of game week 18 comes. It will be a really interesting week with only six fixtures this time around, and hopefully it goes well for you, Sanchit, and maybe hopefully you're happy with playing your free hit chip at the end of game week 18. um, and I think it's been a great pleasure talking to you, Sanchit, having you on FPL Escapades as a fellow brother from college. It had been some time that we spoke to you and we got together on this platform. It's been an absolute honor to have you. We are really thankful for you to spend for taking out time for us and discussing your free hit chip strategy. It's not always that we have somebody that we go back so long back, that who turns up and talks about football and the game we love. So again, thank you so much, Akshay and Anand. As always, guys, every week in week out, it is always a pleasure talking to you and talking about football and FPL, as much as it might make us lose our hair and blood from our eyes. So yeah, and maybe feel like stabbing us in our hearts. But yeah, definitely that is what the game is. And as always, thank you so much to all of our listeners and supporters. Please do follow us at FPL Escapades on all social media. If you like this video and you like Sanchit's free hit strategy for the sake of PL Ibrahimovic, do give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Sanchit goes by PL Ibrahimovic. That is a story for another time. And make sure you give him a follow. And if you enjoyed this video, do let us know on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We hope you enjoyed this. Have a good one, and as always, may the arrows be with you.